Hello, I'm doing the intro for part 2 of the video. I have no idea how long the videos are going to end up, so happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, see you later. I hope you enjoy my misery. I did basically everything I needed to do in basic training, but physically I could not keep up. Couldn't. When I joined the military, I was a couple pounds away from being too skinny to join. I have a concave chest. It's not enough to affect my heart or lungs, supposedly. But I've never been able to get muscles on my chest. I barely squeaked by the lowest standards of getting in to the military. It became very obvious very quickly that I could not run 2 miles anywhere close to the pace I was supposed to. And the worthlessness just constantly. I don't know how many times I failed physical fitness test. I don't know. Over my course of my entire military career, I only passed the physical fitness twice. No, 3 times, sorry. 3 times. 2 of them were in my advanced training, when I lived in the area for a while. And even then, I would fail a test, sometimes multiple tests, before finally succeeding. The only other time I passed the physical fitness test was in Iraq. We'd have these marches. They were just walking, but you would walk so many kilometers. And it was fine at first. But then one came. I think I missed it totally. Something had happened and I wasn't able to take it, so I had to do a makeup. And I was so downtrodden. I was struggling so hard. And eventually I did it, but it took far longer than it should. And it literally there was a point where I just sat down on the ground and I wished I was dead. Only to then have another one of these marches, and again, halfway through, I just couldn't go on. They put me in the back of the vehicle, and as I was there, exhausted, sweating bullets, hearing people talk about how I'd already given up, and I just felt there was nobody there on my side. Not really. So without passing my physical fitness test, it's getting closer to the end. And we had one final walk. The 20K, I believe it was. And they put you in the front because they think if you're at the front, you'll have an easier time. Because what happens is that you end up with this kind of slinky effect where all the people in front start bunching up together, and then they all slow down, and then by the end the people in the back are stopped, and then they're having to run to catch up, and then they're stopped, and then they're having to run to catch up. So I walked, and I started in the front, I ended up near the back, and there was a vehicle behind us, and it was literally, if you are not faster than this vehicle, then you are going to fail, and I needed to do this. And so every time everybody was resting, I would walk all the way to the front. Mind you, I'm not the only one that was doing this, but I was completely delirious by the end. I couldn't think. I didn't understand what was going on. And so there I was, completely exhausted. But I made it. It was my crowning achievement. But that day wasn't done. We had some training at night, and then it culminated in another walk. And then, I guess to be like initiated, because we were near the end, there was this thing where we had to drag ourselves down on the ground. And I didn't reach it in time. Eventually a drill sergeant said, that's enough. Stop. It's fine. The amount of worthlessness and feeling like constantly, by the end I was hearing things that weren't there. Basic training was coming in and everybody was graduating, but I wasn't. It was between my junior and senior year. So I had to get ready to go back home. Going to school was so difficult. Seeing all these people living their normal lives, not caring. And me just thinking in my head, don't they know? Don't they understand? And I knew basic training, I was going to have to go back. See, normally when you don't pass your physical fitness test, you go to this temporary area where you essentially keep doing physical activities until you pass your PT test. But because I was in the National Guard and doing this, where between my senior year, it meant that I had to spend a year knowing that I was going to have to go back to basic training. I was almost to the point of suicide when I was getting ready to go back to basic training. It's almost there, and I really have no idea but I did it. Mind you, I could have gone and only went the last couple weeks, but I knew I couldn't do that. I knew I had to do all basic training because it was the only way I think I could have physically done it. So yes, I went through basic training not once, twice, all the way through, beginning to end. I passed the second time, so I passed basic training. And I thought at that point that the nightmare was over. And for the most part I was. But that doesn't mean that some of the hardest times weren't to come. But I feel like that's a time for another discussion at another time. So I hope you have a good day, regardless of what day it is. I'm going to go hide in the corner and cry.